Hello, everybody. Greetings to everybody that will be watching, that will come to this conference. Pastor Andrew told me that he will be visiting with Pastor David Obuele. I want to use this opportunity to say, Pastor David, thank you so much for your heart and for your dedication to seeing Nigeria change. And I'm very impressed and I'm very touched by your devotion to bringing people that could help, that could improve our country to Nigeria. And I want to also thank you that you are a person of honor. I thank you for the honor that you have demonstrated towards me by sending gifts and greetings to me all the time, and for remembering me and for caring for our people each time they come over there to Nigeria. Respect, my respect to you. And today I want to talk to all the people who will come to this conference. The last time I gave a message, I sent a message to Nigeria through my Pastor Andrew. It was about the importance of principles and values and virtues in national development. That time I spoke about the fact that a nation is great not by the virtue of our wealth, but by the wealth of our virtues. So the greatness of any nation is not determined by the raw materials, by the resources of that nation, not by the virtue, by the greatness of by the virtue of this greatness, but by the greatness of the nation's values. So if our values are great, we are going to have a great nation. So the number one thing that I think that the Nigerian nation is supposed to address for us to live better and for our nation to change is virtues. Values and virtues. Nothing is more important. If we change, in Nigeria, most people like to talk about the fact that leadership is the biggest issue. And that if we change the leaders, if we could just have a good king, a good president, things would change for better. But that is very primitive. It's very primitive to think like that, because if we have a good, even though everything rises and falls on leadership, but when it comes to Nigeria, our society in Nigeria, it doesn't always follow. Supposing we have the best of leaders, let's say we have as our president the Lord Jesus Christ himself. Now you cannot find any person better than Jesus. That one I bet you. You know what will happen? It will begin to unruffle our feathers so bad because it will stop. It will stop us from doing things that we're used to doing. One of the first things it will do is to insist that we live not by grants, not by shortcuts, but by the rules, to follow rules and laws, written rules and laws. I guess if it attempts to do that and it begins to break and force everybody against their will to do what what they're used to doing, I guess that Nigerians themselves will be calling for the military to come and overthrow him. That's exactly what happened during the government of every time we've had good leaders who have tried to change anything. Nigerians went and got rid of them. I don't know if you know the history of Murtala Mohammed. He is probably acclaimed as the best leader the Nigerian nation has ever produced, but he died for it, okay? Because we don't want to change our ways. You could have a good leader, but you must have the populace and people that will be willing to redress and change their values and their virtues. Talk about Buhari Idiagbon regime. They were probably some of the most disciplined leaders any nation could have, not just in Nigeria. Guess what happened? Nigerians themselves clamored for them to be removed, and they got rid of them. Why? Because the challenge of changing Nigeria must be done by everybody. Everybody must take up the challenge of change upon themselves. If we don't change our values, no matter how good our leaders are, even when they are doing the right thing, we are the ones who will be criticizing them. For example, I was listening and watching a program about Lagos recently, that they wanted to put a rule that you cannot build until you get a permit. And you know, I heard people, they were intervening, complaining, why do we need a permit? We have the land, it is our land. That to get the permit is so expensive and it will take so long. But we want to live like Europeans. We want to live like in Europe. We want to live like in America. You try to go and build without permission in any of those countries. Sometimes you spend more money to get permission than you need to use to build the land, to build the house. But those are the rules. But will Nigerians agree to that? I am not very sure. So, but today, talking about values, and in that same direction, because I believe there is nothing more important for the Nigerian nation than the issue of value and virtues. So I want to talk to you today about 6 P's. 6 P, like people, Paul, P. 6 of them, so I say 6 P's. P and small s, C, many P's. 6 P's of national decay. That is to say, 6 things, 6 P's that are responsible for the decay of any nation. And these 6 points that bring about decay and deterioration of any nation could be found in our nation, Nigeria, right now. Number 1, P, that is responsible for national decay, is the fact that position is more often elevated, encouraged, and aspired for rather than merit and qualification. So position instead of qualification. Position instead of qualification. That is to say, people will aspire to attain a position of authority and of influence rather than the qualification that will make them to perform in that place of responsibility they have taken upon themselves. That is, whenever you have a society where people are more concerned for people's position and titles, that nation will sooner or later come to self-destruction or to total decay. And the decay we are experiencing in Nigeria today more has to do with the fact that as long as somebody has a position of respect, of authority, of money, of wealth, it doesn't matter what his qualifications are. We don't even want to know if he studied or not, if he gets the degree or earns the degree or not. So far as he's living well and living good, we think he deserves our respect. When a society gets to that kind of a place, when they value and respect position above merit and qualification, there will be corruption. Why? Because everybody will do anything possible and anything necessary to get to a place of authority and position, even though they are not qualified for it. Second, I don't have the time to go into the details of all these 6 P's I'm going to be talking about. But the second P is, I'm sure Pastor David will digest all this for you. And the second P of national decay, that is the second point that is responsible for national decay, is when a nation are more concerned about power rather than justice. Okay? Power instead of justice. There will be decay in that society. That society will fall. That society will be self-destruct. that society will decay sooner or later. And if you look about in Nigeria right now, I guess we might be facing that challenge. When people aspire more, not just to have positions, but when they aspire to just be people of power. So that's why people go for witchcraft. That's why some people aspire to even be religious leaders and pastors just to have power. Power instead of justice. So power is not for them to bring about justice, but power to affirm themselves. Power to oppress. So if you are more interested in power rather than justice, you will abuse that power. You will use that power to oppress the people that it was given to you to uplift. But if you are more interested in justice, power becomes an instrument and a means rather than the goal. But if you are not overly concerned about justice, you are more taken away by power, then you will abuse it. You will use that power to oppress other people. But what it should be is when you have concern to help people, when you have the desire to bring about justice, power becomes the instrument you use to bring about that justice. Just like the first point we made, position instead of merit and qualification. When you are truly qualified, you don't care about the position you have. When you really have merit, position will come sooner or later. Okay, the next P, you remember we are talking about the 6 P's of national decay. The next P we are going to talk to you about today is the fact that when a nation is more concerned about possession instead of compassion, there will be national decay. There will be national tragedy in that kind of country. Possession. What is possession? Possession, I want to have, is greed. I want to have as much as possible. Instead of having compassion so that my possession and anything I have will be channeled to lift other people up. If I'm more concerned about compassion rather than possession, the things I own don't own me. But when I'm more concerned about possession instead of compassion, I don't own things that I have. They own me. Now, and the tragedy of that is, when you're more concerned about possession, listen closely. You will do 419 if necessary, because you need to get that house. You need to get that car. You will steal. You will be corrupt. You will take from national coffers. You will, there is what Nigeria is famous for not just corruption in Nigeria, it's 419 letters. And people will carry drugs even because of possession. I must have this, I must have that, I must have that. But a possession that is greater than things is compassion. If you have compassion, if you have a person of compassion, you are always giving. You're giving love, you're giving life, you're giving empathy. You know, when you are more a person of compassion, possession is just a means that you use to uplift other people. The number 4P that I want to talk about today, we're talking about 6 P's of national decay that bring about 6 points that are responsible for national decay. Is another P, number 4P, is praise or plaudit of men instead of industriousness. Now, oh, our country likes that plaudit. We like praise. Oh, we like praise. That's why we want to have all the titles. That's why when we're having a ceremony or an occasion, it takes like the first 30 minutes or 1 hour to just introduce all the big men that are in the congregation or that are in the meeting, and we need to mention them, their names and their title. We need to overly recognize this, recognize that, recognize that. Okay, we are more concerned about people's praise instead of being concerned about industriousness. We are supposed to be more concerned about our productivity, about people's ingenuity, about what we are doing to add more value to life, to add more value to people. But instead of us to be seeking to be seeking means and ways to add value to people, to the society, we are all going about with our is it Agbada, they call it in Yoruba, but I don't call it Bariga or something. I forgot the Nigerian name for it. Well, they with us, with our long dress, and we want everybody to praise us. Plaudit, praise of man, praise from people, recognition instead of industriousness. But you see, when I left Nigeria about 27 years ago, we never had one billionaire in Nigeria. I couldn't believe it. When I realized that Nigeria, even 20 years ago, never had one billionaire. Even 10 years ago, we didn't have a billionaire. I was so shocked. I said, wow, what about all the big men that we sing praises to? I mean, there are musicians that are singing about people and how wealthy they are. They are not even recognized beyond the border of Nigeria. I couldn't believe it. It's just now, thank God to people like Dangote, Mike or something. All these people now, they are Adenuga, right? They are bringing Nigeria to the map. They are making Nigeria to not just sing praises of each other without substance, but they are adding substance to all the plaudit. But we need to be less concerned about the plaudit and praise and be more concerned about substance, about industriousness. Let's be more taken about with that, taken away with that. In America, when you go to the West, go to Europe or America, you see people who are having billions. Nobody's thinking about them. They just wear ordinary shirts and ordinary jeans. No plaudit, no praise, no people fleets of praise singers going about them. But they have more money than the whole budget of Nigeria, because it's about value. Our value systems, and they are wrong. We don't have values that encourage development. And these things, position, power, possession, plaudit, they kill a nation. The next P, number 5 point that is responsible for national decay is popularity. People in Nigeria sometimes are too concerned about being popular instead of being concerned about diligence. Diligence is more important than popularity. Why should you be popular if you are not productive? Why should you be popular if you are not hardworking? Why should you be popular if you don't have anything to show for it? The last point is the last P out of the 6. The last P of national decay is pleasure. Oh, do you remember the Owambes and the parties and all the Friday night? Friday night in Nigeria is a big business. Saturday, Yoruba, I'm from the western part of Nigeria. Yoruba people, wow, I grew up in it. You go to the West, everybody is walking. Everybody. Have you been to London or America? Everybody is walking every day. 2-3 jobs a day. Not Nigeria. We are about pleasure. We want to enjoy life. We should be more concerned about sacrifice, self-sacrifice, self-denial, sacrifice, producing more and more, not just for ourselves, not just for our family, but producing for the nation, producing for our community, rather than just going about and looking for pleasure. Well, 6 P's of national decay. Do you people think, you young people, do you think we could change that? Do you think we could change the attitude to position? Instead of seeking for position, to begin to seek for qualification and merit? Do you think we could do something about power? Instead of being power drunk, to be rather justice drunk? Do you think we could do something about possessions? Instead of just looking for and assessing people by what they possess, to rather assess people by the compassion they have. That's a greater value than the material things people possess. Do you think that we could shun praise and plaudit of men and begin to value industriousness? Do you think we could do something about popularity, just looking for popularity, but rather value diligence? Do you think that we could shun pleasure and seek for how we could sacrifice for self, for others, for the community, and for the nation? So these are wrong, and what I've done is that I've put the wrong value systems that are ruling in our nation and are ruining our nation as against the right value systems that build, that bring about development and advancement and civilization of a nation. So the right values that we should be seeking in Nigeria is to achieve things by merit, to be people conscious of justice, to be people seeking justice, to be people full of compassion, to be people full of industriousness, to be people who are diligent in everything, and to be people who sacrifice for others and for God. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.